They're 3DS, three dudes who have a common interest in cryptocurrency, finance, technology, sports, science, politics, and current events. The content provided in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only, is not intended to be, nor should it be construed as financial advice. The opinions expressed are those of the hosts and the guests and do not represent professional financial guidance. Always consult with a certified financial advisor or conduct your own research before making any investment decisions. Listeners act on this information at their own risk.
Hello, Bitcoiners. Thank you very much. Hello. It's good to be with you. It's good to be with you. And Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say. It's going to the moon.
Hello, welcome back. Episode 5. We made 5. We got Corey, we got Nate. We're 3DS. Please like, subscribe. We're just hanging out, having a good time. We got a lot of content to cover this week, guys. So let's
Great week.
just jump right on in. I mean, we're just to update the people. We're at 100K on Bitcoin. Not bad.
Up
Couple
all
days
around.
till inauguration. Also, not bad. So,
Beautiful.
having that said, executive order to sign day one for Bitcoin. What are we thinking? How we feel? Do you think that it's going to be? Do you feel that day one, or are you feel like it's gonna take a little bit more time than day one?
Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's really going to depend on where we're at as far as day one goes. Like, where are we at in response to LA wildfires? Where are we at in these other things? Because there might need to be actions that really need to be prioritized before that. But
Sure.
even if it's within inside of that first week, first month, no matter what, if we can get some, I mean, even if they can get it in writing and say, hey, we're pushing it through, here's a date or here's a goal, here's the target, here's the price point, here's the plan. That's going to influence the market to turn this thing
A
up
roadmap.
regardless. Yeah, exactly. You got a nice blueprint, send it out. Everybody says, oh, okay, America's going to buy 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years, based at this rate. And we start flying.
I agree. I don't necessarily think it might be day one, but the fact that we even have this story, I think, is still bullish because it's gonna get people excited. It's gonna have them get in. But I definitely do think it will come in the first 30 days because looking back on his 2016 presidency, I know he got real active his first 30 days. So I think we'll definitely see it within his first 30 days, maybe sooner, of him getting into office.
Yeah, and to one of your points, Corey, I think people are going to be surprised with the amount of movement and traction that he's going to bring to the post inauguration and the intensity that's going to happen. Like, this is the last term. There is no other chance. This is the legacy. Love him or hate him, he's going to do everything he can to, stand on his word and be, accountable for everything that he said and what he wants to do. So
That's
I
right.
think it's going to happen. Senator Loomis said T minus 6 days till we start our Bitcoin strategic reserve plan. So
Fun,
again, the
exciting
fact that
times.
it's at the top of the priority list is absolutely a win.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that they're out even like in the public in the open just saying that they're gonna do it, it
Huge.
part of me wants to get real excited and get real bullish and ape in, but the other side of me is just like, calm down. It's gonna be all right. Because
What
we
do you?
could have it could be a buy the rumor, sell the news event.
I was
Like we
just
could
about to
see
say that.
that. So if and this is important too. So if on inauguration day between now and then, if we're running hard and then we hit him getting in office and we see a big drop, like do not be fooled. Like that
Yeah,
was not the end of the market,
Yeah.
because we could see that. They like to do that. The markets like to do that. So anytime a big event happens, stuff like this is known to happen. So don't panic.
yeah, definitely. I wouldn't sell my bags in any kind of panic. Don't
Mm-mm.
don't sell in fear. What is fear? False evidence appearing real. It's just another manipulation. Just like I was
Mm-hmm.
talking in the signal chat. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, all these people can come out here and say whatever they want. But once you learn JP Morgan EU is stacking Bitcoin, well, how do you think that translates for when he wants to say, okay, well, I'm now invested in Bitcoin on the, American side of things. So
Well, that's also because the regulations are totally different. So
exactly. But that's what I'm saying.
they're a little bit more loose over there with it, and they don't have they don't have a Gary Gensler breathing down their everybody's neck. And you talk about I mean, Garland House tweeted out not long ago, or X'd out, I guess you would call it nowadays, but uh about the definition of insanity, and he's like, this Gary Gensler has literally done that. So alluding to the fact that I'm putting the horse or the carriage in front of the horse here, but alluding to the fact that, the appeal is in for the SEC. They're fighting it once more. They got destroyed in court and they're still fighting it. But, what 6 days? Is that where we're at? 5 days?
5.
5 days, man.
Tomorrow will be
Just
4 days in a wake up, my friend.
yes, sir. So, it's just like, is this like that's the legacy you want to go out on? Is kind of crazy to me. So
Well, really, I think his legacy point is now suing Elon Musk.
yeah, but
I don't know if
what
you
does that
saw
look
that.
like when he's gone in 5 days?
I don't
So
think he cares. Again, it's almost kind of one of these smear campaigns that politicians do. It's the same fucking process.
yeah,
Because no matter what, you have that on your shoulders. Like, oh, he went to court for, like, it doesn't even matter if it's true or not. You can see that with all these, Trump felony convictions. Do you know any felons that haven't served any time, paid any fees, have like no charity? How many felons haven't done that?
yeah.
So,
I
but yeah,
I
just
can't think of any. I mean,
ex-
there's probably a couple white collar ones, but
yeah, I'm sure there's a few, but in the public eye, like nobody's been through the court systems with 100 fucking convictions on them
yeah.
and come out almost completely unscathed. You got some interesting things going on, but let's get back to the crypto. Don't get discouraged. Dollar cost average. You got to stay focused.
Big facts.
DCA.
So I mean, I guess leaning into that a little bit more, do you where do you see you mentioned in I think it was episode 3, your global top is going to be November, third week in November.
Yeah,
Uh
correct.
do you see it following kind of a same charting pattern that we had in 17,
It's
where
hard. Go ahead.
April, May is going to be a a real high point for us, and then summer is going to pull back hard?
I think we'll see a lot of movement within the different sectors now. I think things are going to start moving independently, through that window you're talking about because, the structures and the systems in place for the ISO tokens that we were kind of talking about prior to the podcast or Bitcoin specifically, like at that point, it doesn't matter. Like January 20th, Bitcoin reserve, whatever regulation comes in, like it's off to the races at that point because as you saw again today, Oklahoma, seventh state in the US to, officially put some legislation out there and try to, adopt a Bitcoin reserve for the state. Again, this is very localized still at this point. And to
Mm-hmm.
y'all's points that you've made on them almost every podcast, the world's going to follow suit. Now, how fast does that happen? Because we can talk about price points and how much the government's going to buy, but that price point really matters in the sense that you're going to have people out here that are going to be anxious, and the intensity is going to be there. It's like because if they don't get on it, they won't be able to get there. As far as other nation states and those localized levels that I'm talking about, like if 10 states, so at 5 states, you're at 10% of just states in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get another 50% on top of that, and you're headed towards 10, 11, 12. I mean, these are just states.
Yeah,
Think about it.
absolutely.
Florida has the 11th largest GDP in the world. It's not like California's up there. It's it's top 10. New York, all these places, which they need reserves because they have they have so many penalties and so many things they have to pay out at the state level, at the congressional level, the Senate level, all these different things. So it's a no brainer in that sense.
Thoughts, opinions, Corey?
I mean, it's just I don't know how people are feeling bearish because I feel like there's some bearish and negativity right now because things aren't skyrocketing, ripping right now. But with all these things, whether it's states, countries, the ETFs, like there's just so many catalysts. Like I don't know, like you really got to be sticking your head in the sand, almost like willfully ignoring it to think otherwise. Like
And
I've
and
said it
and
multiple
you, when you
times.
say people, you mean like the retail, right?
Of course, retail. No,
Yes.
I'm not talking about Wall Street or companies. There's some companies that are ignoring it, but I mean, if they see their competition doing it, and then like the Michael Saylor thing, like he's kind of paved the way for that whole strategy, and other companies are starting to do it. There's a company in Japan that's doing what he's doing, and they're leading the stock market. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think you know, the big thing that we are looking forward to ultimately is a institutional adoption, right? Like there's a lot of money there. It's gonna get adopted eventually. I think the roadblocks right now are the companies that have those, which some companies are, as you mentioned. But the roadblocks right now are everybody has their own red tape within their company to major corporations. So
I mean, that's all going to change though. That's why this administration is kind of exciting because they're going to make it to where there's not much red tape for companies to get involved and buy and hold. I was just listening to
I'm talking
podcasts.
about a private company. It has nothing to do with government. Like a private company, if we opened up our own company and we decided to pay each other and we say, hey, we're going to adopt instead of doing a 401 for you and you, we're going to do a Bitcoin reserve, but on a large scale for like, let's
Public
see.
companies. Microsoft, they're a great example. They just had the board meeting and they
I'm,
denied
I'm
it.
not even talking about on that scale. I'm talking like maybe a little bit smaller than Microsoft, somewhere in the middle where you got like maybe it's not a publicly traded company. I'm just saying, like, there's still tons of adoption that needs to happen. And I think a lot of it right now, well, obviously the uncertainty, but there's also the red tape within the company and just the education on it and knowing about it and the incentives it can offer. So, I mean, I toyed with the idea of pitching it in my company. Hey, how about instead of matching me dollar for dollar, we do a Bitcoin and you match, you know, dollar for dollar that way, you know. But I ain't worked out all the details on how I want to pitch that yet.
No, I was gonna bring up because I was listening to Michael Saylor talking. A point that he makes is once regulation comes into where companies can basically, they can hold it on their treasury, and once it's on their treasury, they can loan against it and not necessarily like a security like stocks. They can only loan up to, I think he said like 47% of whatever the company's value is. Whereas treasuries, people don't really sell treasuries. They plan on holding those for a long, long time.
Sure.
So if companies can do that, again, that's bullish because we know they're buying it and they're not really going to sell that probably for like 20 years. Um, but it's just, again, it's just so many things that are going to push it. And yeah, like you said, there's companies that we're not even know about or in the know of that probably will take on Bitcoin and adopt Bitcoin. Like the commercial I sent in the Signal chat, Coinbase. It's a
Mhm.
little mom and pop store. People go in there, uh, cash only. They give you a discount, but because they're trying to get away from all these fees from the
Credit card companies
traditional
too.
credit card companies that are hurting small business. If you could turn that into crypto where the fees are a lot lower and it's just a lot more straightforward, then it would be way easier for small local businesses to basically get their money, and they don't have to wait. So like, they might
Yeah.
have to wait a certain amount of time to receive their funds from, all these credit card transactions, whereas crypto is like once you send it, it's in their account. They don't
Yeah,
have
I
to
didn't
wait
even
on their
think
stuff.
about, like I know you could probably speak to this a little bit better than I, but like thinking about like if you were like a waiter or waitress in the hospitality business and at the end of the night you're splitting tips on credit cards, like is that like a wait like is there a waiting process to get your tip or is it just they cut it from the drawer? I don't like how does that work? Because to me it's like, man, if we just started going to some type of cryptocurrency, then you get your money right there on the spot. It's like, it goes to the drawer and then it gets divvied out at the end of the night. Oh, here's your XRP. Bam, bam, bam.
So
Yeah.
the workers get their money the night of, but the business, again, all those transactions still have to process, and they have to wait to get their funds from the credit card companies. Like if you ever go to a restaurant, you go to a restaurant, eat right now, tomorrow you can look at it, it'll stay processing still, because
Hmm.
it's accounting. Oh, what, you had a $50 dinner, you left a $10 tip, and then maybe 2, 3 days later, you'll see it
I need to
clear.
move up there with you.
Yeah.
$50 for a dinner.
Well,
Shit.
no, 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 no. That was an example. I mean, there are some $50 dinners around here, like, so, and you can get some busting food.
Well, before we move on to adoption too, I kind of want to, one of your points you made about the commercials, that's part of the adoption phase as well, is that publicity, is those commercials. It's seeing, I mean, I was watching fucking whatever the latest Mission Impossible was over Thanksgiving, the buyer of the nuclear arm, the uranium bomb was going to, purchase it in cryptocurrency. I was, Squid Game Volume 2, they talking about crypto. Everybody starts talking about cryptocurrency. They
Hmm.
just start to install it into the communities. And then when you hear, oh, everything shifted to cryptocurrency, you say, well, I've heard that before. XYZ.
Yeah.
Have
It's
you
funny
guys
that
seen?
all the bad things are associated even in the Hollywood. So
Yeah, it's still fucking, hysterical. But again, it's just, this
It's
is
a
the
trick.
beginning,
It's a trick. I'm telling you, they're tricking you. Because then, have you seen the Squid Games? Have you
yeah,
watched it?
yeah.
The second one? Okay,
Not
so
good. Don't recommend.
no, it's decent. But my point was the the guy that's in there, he's a crypto millionaire, and they don't like him in there because he rug pulled everybody,
Yep.
or so they think. You might find
Hmm.
out later that he didn't, but so they're introducing it to the masses, like
Yeah.
through whether for better or for worse, they're putting the idea in your head at least.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, you heard it somewhere, right? So it
Yeah,
makes it
but
that much more familiar that you just heard it.
even then, what was the currency of choice prior to that? In all these situations, cash, absolute
Cash
cash,
rules everything around me.
treasury notes.
So since we're still on adoption, I think I'm gonna bring up the Thailand Bitcoin ETF. So there's another country that has filed in past. We have another ETF out there in the world that is going to be accumulating Bitcoin at a rapid rate. This is why it's like if you're walking, you need to hurry up and start sprinting.
100%.
Right now is
Well,
the time to be sprinting to get what you need to get. When we hit bear market times and things, then you can slow down, you can walk, which honestly, it's really the inverted after you've been in it for a while. When bear markets hit is when you should be sprinting to accumulate. Once you have built your base, then you can, like right now, for us, so to speak, we can kind of slowly buy coins that we've missed, that we felt like we missed out on. But
exactly.
um definitely y- if you don't, it's gonna get to the point where, like, you asked the question about this 4-year cycle. So I meant to bring this up. 21 was the year that we went up hard in March, April, and then dropped in the summer. 17 was more of like a gradual up, drop, up, climb, even in March and April. That's why I'm with Nate. Like the top is gonna be the beginning of November to towards the middle, and then that's around the time you should be looking to heavily unload some bags, take profits.
And I want to be
You
very
don't
clear about this. The global, when I say global top, I mean global top short term. Like it's not
one
going to be the
year
highest price point.
for
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
four year
I'm just
cycle. Yeah,
clarifying for everybody that that's not going to be the highest price point ever. That's just going to be the
yeah,
global top for the cycle.
for sure.
correct.
Agree for the cycle. And then
Because
after that,
2030 is game over.
yeah, 2030 it's going to be bananas. But 2026 is going to be, I think, a nasty year as far as like, I don't know, we'll see some negative news headline hit out and prices are just going to probably be on the way down. I mean, again, like I say that because the FTX situation was an unforeseen scenario that nobody really could have predicted unless you were behind closed doors and knew what was going on with those guys. But I mean, there's a lot of people that said that they manipulated the market so bad to where we were probably supposed to go closer to 100K last time, but they were stealing everybody's money and selling it off
Hmm.
and taking profits. So, I mean, regardless though, it dropped for 6 months to a year. You got your opportunity to get Bitcoin at 15K. 15K people. 22 of December you could have got, but the meme of Bitcoin at 15K and Bitcoin at 100K, and then there's like three people in line at
Yeah.
15, and then there's a line out the door at 100. That's the retail mindset. Is everybody scared to touch it when it's going down or at a low point? They think it's going to keep going, but they're not scared when it's high and it's going to keep going, it's going to keep going because they keep seeing headlines. And this is where I say manipulation comes in play because they're not really manipulating the price. They're manipulating you because you dictate the price.
Yeah,
You
manipulating
know?
the mindset of the people that's looking at it and thinking, "Hey, is
Exactly.
this an asset I should get in?" And you track it for 3 days, and it's moving, it's charting 2.5%, 5%, 6%, 12%. And so, oh no, I don't want to get into that. But then you back out and look, you start looking at a 5, a 10 years, you know, a 10-year chart, and you say, "Holy shit!"
For sure. That's
Facts.
why I like the Amazon Jeff Bezos Saturday Night Live uh situation because it's very telling of like what goes on. So in 99 there's a interview of him on there and they're asking like what's going on with the company, what has changed because they dropped like 99%, some crazy, some big drop. And he's like nothing has changed, like we're still building and doing, we're growing the company. But if you look at the headlines during that time, they were probably telling you that Amazon was a worthless company and it was never going to be around and
About to go under.
going under. It's
Yeah, they
stupid.
had the picture of him sitting in the garage with a sheet that said Amazon on it.
Spray
All
painted on
all
it.
the
Yeah,
nonsense.
unprofessionalism. They probably blasted the man. The point is somebody had those shares for stupid cheap, and if they would have just held on to like $100 worth between now and then, you're a millionaire.
Hmm.
So the point is
That
is
was a
they
long ride up, though.
it was a long ride up. Yeah, I would say 2010 is probably when they started hitting their stride.
Yeah, but what's 10 years?
I mean, 10 years into 10 years sounds like a long time, but it's really not.
Not when you're looking at your investment portfolio.
True.
No.
I
Facts.
mean, I've been investing, crypto, stocks, everything since 2012, 2011.
That boy
That's
was ahead of
because
me.
you're an
But
exception.
those are
We're
those
talking
things.
to the people that are never
True,
invested
true, true.
ever.
Just go
Tell them, hey, hang on to it for 10 years. They're like, what?
go
I want to
look
make money tomorrow.
look up what a bank is and look up what money is, and you'll start investing today. I
Today.
promise you.
All right. That's that.
Yes, sir.
But
Adoption's on the way up.
adoption's on the way.
Don't get fucking
DT,
discouraged.
he maybe it's day one, maybe it's day 30, maybe it's day 60 or 90. It doesn't matter. The point being, as long as we see something in place, I think that's pretty good indication of where we're going. Uh
Well, let
JP
me throw this out
Morgan.
there before we go. Let me throw this out. Even if they don't, does it matter if every state starts to contribute? If we go from 7 to 50, does it matter if the federal government, obviously they move the needle, which we've talked about by printing money and
It,
inflating our
it's
economy.
faster.
But
It's the
I understand the acceleration, but this is what I'm saying. The crypto market is very strange to me because I transitioned from the regular markets and the 5 year charts and the 10-year charts. And I came in like everything has to happen, 30 days, 90 days, 90 days. It's like, bro, it's so unrealistic. And, dealing with people in your life that we have group chats with, it's like, well, I need it to go. It's like, dude, you've doubled your money in 3 months on something you know nothing about without doing anything but hitting 7 buttons. And that's not,
it's true.
and like, you want more, and that's like, that's low. It's like
Yeah.
your expectation is wild because even if you invested in the S&P for 10 years, you may have made the same return, 120% on your money. That's crazy.
That's
It's
why I
so
like
comical.
the investing aspect that it really teaches you a lot about yourself. You don't know how greedy you are until you get involved in these things. You know what I'm saying? Like you've never experienced a level of greed, especially particularly on the trading side, because like you said, it's quick money. I've done it plenty of times. Especially on smaller dollar amounts, I'll be up like a good percent, like 50%. I'm like, oh, it's only 20, $30, thinking it's going to keep going. I want 100x, 150, and then I get wiped out. So again,
Drugged.
But that's what I'm saying, bro. Like
when
I
you're in the
never, I
money,
never looked at a 24-hour chart until I got into crypto. Like that was not even on my radar.
yeah. I mean, it is a quicker space overall, though. So that's why people are like that, though, too, because they are used to things happening in 6 months and a year versus 10 years.
Well, the fear and greed has gone up 10 points from earlier today. So there's that part. But any
Well, at
other
60.
any other thoughts before I roll on? That was a hot button right there.
Adoption, man, it's accelerating. It's happening quick.
I
Oh yeah.
And
mean,
it's not happening quick enough for the people who are sitting in it. I understand that, but even, crypto was on my radar in 2013. There's been more mass adoption in the past 6 months than the past 10 years. And the people that are coming to the market because of that are thinking that, it needs to accelerate much more. But the people who have been holding bags for 10 years are like, oh, the people that had a Bitcoin at $100 in 2012 are like, holy shit, I can't
Well,
believe this. But
there
the
was
people
something
who are
that just
buying it at
dropped, yeah.
100,000 need it to fucking shoot up so they can feel the same, energy.
Same euphoric happiness that the rest of us holders have been feeling. Well, there's a analytic not too long ago about the adoption and how fast it is and where it's at compared to cell phone technology. I don't know why I cannot find anything tonight, but we're significantly ahead of where,
the
cell phones.
adoption rate of cell phones.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's
Last
a
last point: New Hampshire, Alabama, Florida, Pennsylvania, Texas, Ohio, North Dakota, Oklahoma. Those are the states already.
I think I saw Texas jumped on board tonight.
So you're talking about number 3 GDP in the country, number 4 GDP in the country, and a handful of others.
If you live in California, don't expect it until you get a new governor. That guy is
Slow it down.
sideways. We'll get
That's
into
later.
that. Uh, JP Morgan released a report stating Solana and XRP ETFs to attract billions in new investment. When applying these so-called adoption rates to Solana and XRP, we see Solana attracting roughly 3 billion to 6 billion of net assets, and XRP gathering 4 billion to 8 billion in new assets.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get it. I've been talking about it since, months and months ago before they even started talking about this. I've said specifically the ETF support is going to give people an opportunity that a lot of people in crypto long term haven't had, which is, maybe not a 40% dip, but a 20-25% dip in those points because these people are going to set their ETF contributions, set it and forget it. Like I'm not changing my shit every month as far as because a lot of the people are using these financial tools, these firms, these 401ks, these things like that. So the more businesses and the more human interests or whatever program your company has a 401k through adopts that bit ETF, ETH ETF, whatever ETF it is, coin index 20, whatever comes out, it's just going to accelerate it even faster and keep it going long term, steady, steadier.
Steady.
Nothing's steady. Again, coming from
There's
the real markets, that's not steady. You can look at Amazon, you can look at Tesla. It's got high points, it's got low points. Christmas, Thanksgiving, you're going to be off the chart. After that, it's going to drop down in February because people are broke and they got to pay their taxes, and that's just the game.
for sure. I mean, the stock market just today, so over the weekend it jumped up like $10. So there's going to be volatility in every market. It doesn't matter if it's crypto, stocks, commodities. If we were trading zinc or any rare precious minerals or anything like that, even with forex trading, currencies, there's this up and down movement. You need that up and down movement. That's basically the gas to propel it, price action up and down. So
Yeah. No, I get it's my 2 cent on it is thank you to all the folks that were shilling it over Christmas and Thanksgiving, to their grandparents, their cousins, uncles, aunts, whatever have you, little baby nieces and nephews. You got to get on it. We got you. I got Uncle Bo got you some Solana. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to the fam.
So it's important in that sense because it creates it a little again adoption exposure. So you get that exposure to it, and maybe having that and then seeing coming back looking at it 6 months to a year later and you go, huh, dang, Uncle Bo got me this at $189. It's $300 now. That's cool. So that's I think it's great for the exposure, and we've talked about it before, but that older generation might be a little bit more reluctant to put their money in something where the volatility is a little bit more up and down. They can slide it in there and have that exposure to it because their grandson, granddaughter said, "Hey, Grandpa, you need to get up on this. Your
Yes,
dying days are coming up. Let's live these golden years up, homeboy."
but that's where you need to really advocate for the crypto baskets for those certain types of people who aren't going to be tracking it, who don't have the notifications
Well,
turned on,
same,
so they can
same.
have that no, well, no, it's not the same because it automatically rebalances your portfolio. You don't have to touch it. So if the performance isn't there in your blue chips, Avalanche is out. We're bringing in 100, whatever crypto is going in the right direction. But that's what I'm saying. There's levels to this. So your niece, who's more applicable and can get on the phone and be like, oh, damn, I see, chart. I need to do this. I need to convert, or, whatever the process looks like versus the person, grandpa that we're talking to who doesn't even know how to fucking access their email. Hey, just put $100 automatic transfer, blue chips, feature 10, whatever your sector. Set it, forget it. 5, 6 years, you
But
might be
that's what
done
I'm saying.
working.
So grandpa's probably calling his wealth advisor and saying, "Hey, what you guys got this any of this XRP?" And they're gonna say, "Yeah, we got that in a ETF. You want to get on board with it? Yeah, let's do that. Move X amount here over there." And he's gonna set it, forget it, but nonetheless, it's still a no. He's not probably won't forget it because he's old and savvy at this point. If he's already at that where he's got a wealth advisor, but anyways, I digress. That's
to
my
add to that, though, it's getting to the point where grandpa doesn't even necessarily have to call his wealth advisor and say, "Hey, I want exposure to." cryptocurrency. Things like the S&P, they rebalance out S&P every I don't know how frequently it is, but I know they rebalance out. So they put new companies in and they drop ones out. They kicked Tesla out. I don't know what the reasons were, but long story short, Michael Saylor and his company MicroStrategy is in there now in the QQQ, not S&P. So basically, people that are investing in QQQ for the returns, they're indirectly investing in Bitcoin because they're exposed to MicroStrategy, who's
Hmm.
exposed to Bitcoin. And again, what happens when all these other countries start doing the same, or companies start doing the same thing? People are, you don't even have to get into crypto. You can hate crypto, but if you're investing in stocks, you're still going to have some exposure to it. You're upholding a company who is investing in it for you.
Right.
So that's why it's like, whether the smart ones are saying, hey, I want exposure right now, but down the road, I mean, it's just going to be all the money, it's going to suck all the money out of the dang TradFi into the new monetary system, aka crypto. And it's not even just a monetary system. Like, I don't even like to call it that because it's so much more than that. You could do a lot more other things than just trade and use it for finance.
It's a digital balance sheet with line items, people. That's all the blockchain is.
All right. Get in where you fit in. On some other XRP news, it's flipped all the telecommunication companies on
100%.
the market cap. Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T. See you later. Wouldn't want to be you. 182 billion. That ain't not bad for XRP. They're doing good, good things. Bank of America has been running 100% of their transactions on the XRP network. So it's internally they have been doing it. So at some point it's going to roll out and uh, it'll be externally. What are we looking at here, Nate?
The XRP
ETF.
Solana ETPs. This is the price prediction. 6% penetration, 8.4 billion. I was just pulling this up while you're talking about XRP.
Yeah,
There's there's further more information and a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline for XRP and a lot of these other ecosystems as well. So,
All
big
right,
money flowing in.
I got a question for you guys. Bo,
oh damn.
what are the next two ETFs or ETPs that will be coming out that aren't XRP or Solana? Give me three.
You said two, fool.
Well, I want three. I don't like two. Go to three.
uh, Jeez Louise. It's Suey?
Okay, I can
The,
see that.
the water chain.
The water
Suey.
chain.
Uh, I think I saw something on Doge was gonna be one,
Okay.
and maybe something like a Atom Cosmos.
Osmosis.
Okay.
Just kind
Okay.
of spread it around there.
Okay. Nate, what are your three?
Three, uh honestly, bro, I think two of them will be more like a mutual fund style with sectors. And
Mhm.
then I think that's kind of tough. I would have to honestly give the third one to Cardano or maybe H bar solely if they were coming out solely. But I really do think that it'll be like an ISO compliant mutual fund
Mhm.
ETF and then maybe a real, we talked about real world assets, but I think that's going to be a very real thing coming soon. So I
Okay.
think those could be, nice mutual fund ETPs to come to the market.
I'm surprised you guys didn't say Stellar or anything like that. So
Well,
my
that's
three,
in
there's
it. That's in the ISO.
that's why I thought you guys were gonna bring it up. No, but there's one on there that there's one in particular that I think will happen, and I don't know what the reasoning is, but it's an OG coin. Everybody, it's always like if a new exchange pops up, it's always one of the first coins on there. You know
Please
which
don't
one I'm
say
about to
it.
say.
Please don't say it.
I'm gonna say it because the
Say it.
institutions, they love it. It was on
Uh,
Robinhood
yeah.
first. Like whenever they did Congress goes and overlooks them and labels them securities, they're way more friendlier towards this particular one, and that's Litecoin. Litecoin, yes,
Oh, he done said it.
it's
I do.
Litecoin.
I do want to throw this in there. They have the best social media presence of any coin that I'm aware of. Like they literally, whoever's running that thing, kudos to you because y'all be talking some major shit, and I'm here for it.
He said I'm here for it. No, but I mean, I really feel like they would do a Litecoin ETF because the way they look at it like it's the silver to gold, and Bitcoin is the gold, and that's kind of what it was made to be, truthfully.
That's what they
Um,
set out to do. They just made it a 4x multiplier of the Bitcoin blockchain and said that they were going to be, obviously it's a smaller market, but I'm small because
Char
I mean, Litecoin's been a top 10 coin for every bull run since crypto's been here, which honestly, I haven't done much well, I've done more research on it lately, unfortunately, because I should have got in that thing too. But we'll find a price point, we'll execute.
yeah. Charlie Lee is the one that kind of like put a damper on Litecoin because he was the founder and he sold. So like that's like the number one thing you hear people bash Litecoin is like, oh, the founder sold his tokens, which I'm okay with that because that just means he just redistributed the wealth amongst the actual people that are holding it and therefore the project. So I'm not too bummed out on that, but I would say so these are my picks. I would say Litecoin, Stellar, Chainlink.
Chainlink. It's like one of the coins I've always had in the back of my mind. Like, damn, I need to get in. I need to get in. I need, said that for however long. Still don't have a position.
I know what you mean.
There's always those coins that you're just like, man, I need to get in on that. And then you get a little bit of side flow and you're like, man, what coin was it? And you just totally blank on it.
Just pad my primaries at that point. I keep them
Yeah.
moving.
It gets kind of where I'm at. I'm like, well, do I really want to open another position? I'm good with this.
That's how I felt when I opened Algo. But I was like, you know what? I'm feeling good. We're up
Let's
10
let it
cents.
rip.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we got Thailand's Bitcoin ETF.
Hmm. Interesting.
How much money we talking coming into this thing?
What's Thailand GDP?
Yeah, let's look that up. Let's see
We,
what that is. That's a good question. You looking up Thailand's GDP?
yes, sir.
And then we got ADA whale bought 100 million. Wow, wow.
Yes,
It's a
that's
big
I love
number.
it. That's a good number. That's what I like to hear. That's damn near almost some of these outflows that people were panicking about the Bitcoin ETF. And this doesn't even have an ETF yet. So that's even more bullish. Uh, if
Yeah.
whales are loading up right now, it just kind of gives you an idea of what time it is. Swim with the
Indicator.
whales.
Yep.
So
Swim with the whales.
Thailand's GDP, they only have the numbers for 2023. I'm sure the numbers not, out for 2024 yet, quite yet. But 514 billion in 2023, reflecting a 3.89% increase from 22, and it's projected to do 3% and another 3% for 2025. So you'd probably be sitting around 545, 550 billion GDP.
I mean, it's great, but it's just another like if they're doing it, their neighboring countries,
Yep.
Vietnam and like Cambodia and
Cambodia.
all those
Yep.
countries, they will follow
Laos.
suit as well. Kind of to Nate's point, what he brought up earlier about how fast will it go up if Trump doesn't do his reserve? Well, things like this is the reason why it's still going to move with or without, but just the reserve is going to cause that like everybody's got to get to it. They're going to start
Yeah.
sprinting instead of walking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be like a Black Friday sale. Just they're gonna open the doors and God help the store worker who unlocked the doors because he's gonna get run down. By the way, just a little side note, if I was the manager on Black Friday, and I know they don't do it anymore like that where they just open the floodgates, but if I was, I would hold like a 100-meter sprint for my employees like a month beforehand, like find out who can run the fastest. Bro, as soon as you hit these locks, I need you to got fast. Otherwise, stampede. But I digress. That was just a little side note. Uh what was so we okay, Thailand is
500 billion.
it's the world adoption though. That like
It
the people are starting to really get in line. The train, I think the train has just left the station and it's like we're gearing up for some speed now. That's where I'm at
yeah.
on it. So, and that's just because when we were at the station was probably around August when we saw those just bloody days, and it was like, this is a great buy day. Everybody's panicking. I'm like, I don't know why they're this color and they're not diamond, baby.
I
They
don't
should
know.
be glistening, blinding y'all right now. Y'all should be wearing shades, these things, boy. I'm telling you.
So just for fun, here are the countries in conversation about Bitcoin adoption as far as the reserve: the United States, Brazil, Russia, Poland, Germany, Japan, Hong Kong, El Salvador, Bhutan, Venezuela, Argentina, China, Canada, South Korea, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Switzerland, Singapore, Nigeria, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Panama, Zimbabwe, Cuba, a lot of Central African Republican or Republic countries have noted various contexts XYZ. So just for a little context there, it
Yeah,
all
yeah.
starts with a
Beautiful.
conversation.
It's the world. It's the world. They're all talking about it. That's what I'm
We
saying.
are the world.
They already are having that conversation behind closed doors. And I would almost say that there's probably already working towards it. It's just not public knowledge yet.
Agree.
So what can you tell me about the XDC network, the
So
DeFi total value lock, and how it hit a new all-time high?
their whole thing is focused on optimization of international trade and finance. So we talked about this 2 episodes ago. They're focused on the institutional players and the big guys and probably even these countries. They have a fast transactions, their DeFi network and their TVL, which is total value locked on their network, is hitting an all-time high. Um, they're we talked about this before the show. It's an ISO 20022 compliant, which
Mm-hmm.
is a list of like 5 or 7 cryptos that everybody's pretty much heard of: Cardano, XRP, Quant, Algorand, Stellar, HBAR, and IOTA, which is one that we don't really get into too much. There's a Ripple right there. He's got a Ripple coin. He's gonna have that framed up on his wall once Ripple hits $20, or
Sir,
like these maxis are saying 500.
give me that 489 price point. Y'all will never see me on this podcast again.
You could do it from your bunker somewhere remotely. You can come in like the autonomous guy with a mask on. Hello, friends.
Hello.
But no, yeah, no, XDC, I just like their lane that they're in. So they're not they're doing what everybody else is doing, but they're just their clientele that they're focusing on. They're going after the big money. And I like that idea as an investor because I'm like, okay, they're it's not going to be $1 million transaction that comes on. It's going to be hundreds and billions of dollar transaction. That gets me excited. So again, whereas the Solanas are like, okay, this is the retail chain. This is where people are going and pumping all the meme coins. There's a bunch of transactions. You have some decent ones on there, but the big dogs with all the money, coins like XDC are going to be the funnels that funnel all the money from TradFi into crypto and into DeFi,
Tell them what TradFi is.
traditional finance.
There you go. Speaking, you're speaking in a different tongue. You got to bring it back down to earth.
That's fair, but they will never learn these terms if we don't throw them out there.
That's
Just
how
like
you
we didn't
learn,
know
because then
these.
you go look up,
Yep. Somebody's gonna be like, "What he said, TradFi. What is that?" And they're gonna go Google it, and they're like, "Okay," and then it's gonna make more sense.
and then they
Well, it
hopefully look
really
up why
makes
they
sense
shouldn't
because
have a
now you,
fucking banking savings account. Go ahead, though.
I say they're really looking at. Well, they don't need to look it up now. We reinforced it. So, anyways, XDC, it's not that easy to purchase. It's
Mhm.
kind of
So
a little bit of a loophole you got to jump through to get it. But
it's not there's no the United States regulatory clarity situation there it's not available to be bought and traded on US exchanges. But again, like you said, there's loopholes. VPNs are your best friend. Um,
he's not saying that he owns any. But if you were to get some, that would be the
exactly.
way that you go
If
about it.
if I wanted to acquire some XDC, what I would do, ladies and gentlemen, not that I am doing this, is hypothetical only. I would have a VPN. I would set that VPN outside the United States in a place probably outside the EU as well. I would download an application like MEXC. I would purchase that XDC, and then I would leave it.
Yep. Just
But the
hold.
VPN, if you have crypto on your phone, if you got a Coinbase at crypto.com, if you're not running VPNs and having these ad blockers, these malware blockers, all these things that are tracking your networks, you're wrong. It,
On the
you know,
hot wallet.
everybody wants to, because they'll be like, well, my monthly expenses. Okay, well, $20 a month to save you from the hassle of losing almost everything you do, because it doesn't just track your phone and your websites. It tracks, you can track your home, you can track the title to your home, the deed, like literally everything is tracked through that network.
Do you know what cracks me up?
No.
So along the same lines of along the same lines of the VPN, the argument is always, well, what if my crypto gets hacked? And I look at my address to my crypto, and I'm like, boy, somebody worked hard to get this motherfucker. They get it right, or they get into my account. Meanwhile, we got these little flimsy ass debit cards with 4 digits on it, and motherfuckers are stressing about what if my crypto gets hacked. Bitch, you know what you gotta do twice as much stuff to get into a crypto wallet than a debit card.
100.
Shoot.
Things like the networks, like Bitcoin, has never been hacked. Like
Right,
there's,
but that's the big thing right now is the quantum and like making it quantum proof.
I mean, quantum's here, but it's not here yet. Like it is and it ain't. It's still in its infancy. Like
Yeah,
you're,
quantum's
you're
not in the mass adoption phase of people being able to afford it or run it in their own home. Like, how much power Google contributed to making Willow happen and do all these different things, and you know, actually building that chip. So we're probably still 5, 6, 7 years removed from these assholes being able to hack your shit via quantum computing. But at the same time, as we've talked about on the podcast, these developers, they're not, it's not like they're naive to the fact that there's this technology out there. That's part of their team. They have a security team. Like that's part of the
Yeah.
blockchain is the
Yep.
security.
it's part of their
So
new cybersecurity protocols. Probably learn how to quantum proof their blockchains. But that same argument, I like when people bring stuff like that because I just flip it right back onto them. Like, okay, if crypto is harder to hack now, and you bring in the whole quantum thing, what's going to happen to your bank account, your Bank of America account?
Done.
You don't
Because
think it's just going to get wiped and drained? Like
That's
it's the
that's
same
that's
thing.
yeah. That's what I'm trying to drive home is like it's only 4 digits to get into that piece of shit.
Yeah.
and all they
Well,
got to do is they don't even have to go that far. All they got to do is hack your email, reset your password, and they can do whatever the fuck they want. I've had it done to me. So
There's been more bank hacks. The scammers in the world of today, okay, been hacking banks every day, every day. And you're worried about your Bitcoin or your crypto getting hacked when there's less hacks. The only way they can hack you is if you give it to them. Don't store your seed phrase on a computer or on a cell phone. Write it on a piece of paper. If you want to go even exactly, if you want to take it to the next level, you get it engraved on metal. That way it can sustain a house fire or something like that.
and then you
But
install multiple levels of security on that. Like, I
exactly.
mean, I'll be honest with y'all, Bo. Bo. Well, he forgot to take it, but he will have my seed phrases and everything in the event that mine gets destroyed or I lose my shit. So maybe have you one or two people, and not two. That's too many degrees of separation in your security, but
too many
have a
breaches.
have one contingency.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah. Conting contingency beneficiary. No, it's
Hey,
true though.
it's going in the walls. I mean, like,
No, but that is a good point that he brought up that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. Like, if you do invest in the crypto and you have, let's say, a ledger or a cold wallet, and maybe like, and you're trying to convince people to get into crypto, like, find that one person that you know you can trust and be like, look, I'm involved in this. If something were to happen to me, this is how you get access to this. And just, like, because you want to have a safeguard in place, because it would be pretty shitty if built up a pretty nice portfolio just to be another statistic as X amount of Bitcoin lost due to
oh yeah,
you know
no, they ain't see that.
Yeah.
e-
Like, my own wife, like, tried to explain to her as like, you know what, Nate's getting all the codes. Y'all can
But
fight it
yeah.
out however
Eh,
you want. But
well,
like,
that's why I said you got to find the one person that's willing to do that and willing to listen to that.
right,
If they're not,
and willing not to fuck you over. Like, and I was gonna say the
yeah, of
same thing to
course.
Bo's point. Like, it's not in my will yet because I haven't updated it this year. But I told my whole family when they were here for the holidays, I said, look, if something happens to me, everything is defaulted in this way. But there's this one specific thing. I said, you have to contact this person, which is your brother, Bo, and he's going to handle that, and he'll, reciprocate it back to you all in the manner that I told him to when the time is right. So, because I might, if I fall out tomorrow, I don't want, he's not going to sell all my shit and just give him, what my liquid is right now. He's going to wait and be like, okay, well, when I get to the price point, I can sell it and I'll transfer it
well,
to
you
you.
know that come with a little fee. I'm just kidding.
Oh, see, these are motherfuckers you got to watch out for, man. These them opportunists. That's why I don't go out.
Oh
You can
man.
keep you can keep 1,000 XRP, bro. Put that on the record. I'll put it in the
Hey,
wheel.
say yo, slide me a little something.
I got you. A little 10%.
You know what I'm
Hey,
saying? I
he said
gotta
a little
fly. I
10%.
got airfare to come down there. I gotta get. I gotta.
Hey, scrap everything I said. Fuck them contingencies. It's all on you, brother. Ain't nobody coming to help you. Ain't nobody coming to save you, bro. It's on you. If you fuck
Oh
up, let
man.
it go. Let it go. Keep it in the cold wallet. Let it die with you.
Let it die with you. Hey, pump my bags. Let's go.
It's weird. This coin just never died. The whale is dead. Oh man. All right. So kind of a little bit of a shocking note that we have here is Shiba Inu. Five of the top holders own 56% of the total supply. Wow, wow.
It's a big number.
Yeah, boy. They decide to dump and you're
It's
going
a little.
for a w- fun ride.
Yeah, but that's part of the risk factor that you have to account for when you want to get into the meme market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It is a little scary when you look at it. in that aspect, but that's why you should look when you're investing into the tokens, you should look into like who's the holders in the tokenomics of how the coins are distributed, if it's inflation, deflation. But what I would say to that is that could work both ways. It could be a really good thing for you, or it could work out as a really bad thing. A really good thing in, again, in the sense of these guys haven't sold necessarily yet, in bear market lows and all that stuff. So that's a good thing. But if they hold on, if those five people hold on, it's going to push the rest of the coin up versus the other whatever 43% could be selling and dumping. The majority of the holders, aka these five guys, are still holding, so it could push the price up. Or again, the invert. If they sell, the price is going to dump hard.
Hmm.
I don't like to see things like that. I don't, because that's against the whole ethos of crypto of having a. This is a very centralized project, basically, is what I'm saying,
Yeah,
because it's the five people own the majority of it. It it's not really any different than most companies. That's basically a board right there.
true.
So you want to see diverse
Well, also that's
holders.
why it's important to diversify yourself, because if your massive holding is in SHIB and it does go, they get rug pulled, then what do you do? If you're holding anything, if your portfolio looks like 25% over any coin that's not Bitcoin, I don't know. That's pretty tough.
Again, not financial advice. And by the way, please like and subscribe
Comment too. Let's
and
get some
comment. Yeah.
thoughts. Tell us what you think,
They
for
don't
better
have
or for
any thoughts.
worse.
That's why they're watching podcasts.
Uh, so there is something that was pretty cool. I missed the segue earlier into it when we were talking a little bit about it, but did you guys see the stuff about H bar that dropped today?
Which, I mean,
They're talking about working with the World Gemological Institute (WGI), a partnership to tokenize 3 billion worth of diamonds, gemstones, watches, and jewelry. So
lines up. They've been
basically, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say that lines up. They've been talking about tokenizing, organic space, be it whatever, lithium mines. Who
The
pick your variable.
RWAs.
It's a can't stress it enough, folks.
So the way that Forbes has the article, the way that it reads is basically the authenticity document that comes with, a diamond or a watch or whatever that gets verified on the HBAR blockchain. So it shares the same uh, nomenclature. So can never you have that security, and it debunks all the fraudulent stuff that's out there. People are selling,
Fake
faux
stuff.
Gucci bags and
Yeah, and then if
faux
you
paddocks and
lose your paper certificate, folks, don't worry because we got it backed up on the blockchain. Here,
on the blockchain. That's
let me
right.
pull it up for you. Here's my authentication.
Yep. And they were even talking about inscribing the or etching the diamond with the same number. That way you got three lines of security there. So I thought that
I
was
don't know.
very
I don't know if I like that etching a diamond. Now you're fucking with the clarity of the diamond, and if it's
but
somebody,
yeah,
if you
I
putting it
mean,
on
like
the
there's
paint,
still
if
some
you putting
kinks to
it
work out.
on the ring, it's like, oh, your number is 07498.
Oh,
Like
it would be microscopic, bro. You wouldn't even see it.
maybe so. I
But
would feel it.
Blockchain is just an extra added layer of security to these things. Like it's going to be able to secure a lot more databases. That's why I like the idea of like a DMV or real estate deeds being tokenized and put on the blockchain is very interesting to me because it's gonna you like you said you can't fake it. Like they can't make a fake document if it doesn't come attached with the addresses that are tied to the blockchain that's verifying this contract that says, whatever that is that, Bo owns this house, or your registration to your vehicle is on the blockchain. So I think that's why I don't think it's going to be a one size fits all. It's not going to be one crypto that does everything. I think there's plenty of room in the space where you're going to have, certain projects focus on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to
Yeah,
be like, oh, this one just does everything.
I
It
agree
would be
with
too
you, and
much
I
congestion.
Yeah. Well,
fact.
again, but it seems like the theme of the evening is like adoption. Like this is just another step in the direction of adoption for real world assets. I mean, we're
Like,
here. It's
yeah,
happening.
I was gonna say everything you've wanted to happen as far as crypto and getting into a mainstream and getting that penetration is it's we're in the threshold. Like we're not at the threshold, we're crossing the fucking line.
Hmm.
I love
For
it.
sure.
It's exciting time.
It is. Today's exciting, dude. I've been fucking jumping out my drawers. I was at the gym. I couldn't. I was telling Corey before we kicked this thing off. I said, "Y'all blowing." I mean, we was on Facetime. I was at the gym talking about all this shit going on.
And so the last thing I'll hit on with this very long crypto segment is did y'all see the news that Dubai is going to be they're planning to build a crypto tower.
Come on! I saw the news that somebody in Dubai bought a Lamborghini Aventador for 3,300 Solana. So I'm all about that.
I saw that. This is going to be a 17-story uh will cater to the blockchain, DeFi, and Web3 businesses. So you'll have nine office floors for crypto startups, three for blockchain incubators, a floor for AI intervention. I mean, uh,
Hmm.
NFT art gallery, go for it. Exotic
Okay.
car dealership. I mean,
So
there
while we're
it's
kind of on this topic, we've heard the incoming administration speak about wanting to install programs to build new cities with innovation with these technology. Do you think it'll be something similar to that?
it'd be pretty cool. It'd be a
Crypto friendly mining, because it's not, how do I structure that? It's not just like, oh, we could do something, along a smart city, but how do we power that city? Are we powering it through crypto mining, or are we powering it through some fucking bullshit fuel source, that really doesn't matter? How do we do that? Things like that. These are the things that I think people don't necessarily think about when they're like, oh, in the market, I got time, I got time. Well, you may not have that much more time.
yeah.
So,
No, I don't think they got much more time. Not for this cycle, anyways.
Yeah, no,
and
not
again,
for
this
this
is all
cycle.
this is all spoken from a people with preset positions. It's always, of course, like us having those numbers on those dollar cost averages. It's hard for us to buy things, but somebody who's not in it, like you have nothing to lose. You don't have that cost. You don't have that
That's a
price point.
it's a
You don't
phenomenal
have that.
point.
You don't have that outlook. So
It's a phenomenal point because it's we are at the for where we are, you're buying the high for right now, or you're buying higher right now. You need to have patience. It's gonna go higher, but right now you're buying the high. So it's a little hard to you're what's the best way to put it? Like you're late right now, but you're still very early for 2030.
well, you're late on the crypto chart, but you're right on time as far as an investment chart. Again, if you
Um,
you put yourself, you introduce
The
yourself
four
here
year.
in 5 years from now, you multiples, exponential growth.
I'm a good example because 21, the end of 2020 and 21 is when I was getting into crypto heavily, and I was essentially buying the
Top.
whole way up and the top. I stopped buying around like 50, 52,000 because even as a newbie getting in, I just felt like, man, I was just buying this at 18, $25,000 a couple months ago. It's already at 50. Like I even had that almost like buyer's remorse of buying more at such a higher price because I'm like infatuated with the fact that I got my average cost below 30 grand. I'm like, I don't want it below, to go above that. But that's kind of a bad mindset to be in too, because if you're in a long-term mindset and you're like, it is going to 100K, because that was our price point at the time, like, oh, it's going to get to 100K.
Yeah.
Who cares if you're at 50? You're still doubling, and like you said, in a short time frame, like 3, 4 years, you're doubling your money.
Yeah.
And sometimes it could be quicker than that. But I was where we are today is where I was in the last cycle as far as buying. Like I was getting into coins, and even though we were saying that they're too late, there's coins that you still have opportunity to get into. You just got to pay attention, find out who's making waves in the industry and doing what they need to be doing. Like example I always use is I missed the boat on BNB. I downloaded Binance USA. They were doing 50% off of fees if you bought BNB. BNB was 40 dollars, and I was like, "Oh, if it gets down to 35, I'm gonna buy X amount." It got down to like 38, $39. I didn't buy. Stupid. Should have just bought half of whatever I planned on buying. And then it just turned
Good.
around and ran. It shot up to $200 really fast. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to touch it. It's too high. It's way high. It's going to come back down. Then it goes to $700. So when you're in a bull market, like it's almost like there's no price point that is almost like too
Right.
intangible. I mean, unless it's something ridiculous, like $10 million Bitcoin's gonna hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's just unrealistic. But uh 500K sounds unrealistic, but
Not at all.
honestly, we're right there. We're knocking on the door
Yeah,
in the
you
way.
just got to do your own research and have conviction in whatever. Like if you're buying right now, just have conviction in the coin that you're buying into. You don't. You have to have that belief and knowing where it's going to go. I mean, I think all three of us can say like what we hold, like we know, and even if we hold shit coins, we know where we're pulling out. We have an exit strategy for that, but we believe in many of the coins that we hold. That's why we hold them. We know that we're
100.
holding them till 2030. It's like, I think everybody will say, I ain't selling my Bitcoin. It ain't no fucking way I'm selling my Bitcoin. I also feel the same way about XRP. I'm not selling my XRP for a while. I'm holding on to it. That's me because I
Total
believe in
position.
that project. I believe where it's going. So another one being Suey. I at first I was like, well, I'm gonna catch me a little nip off of Suey and I'm gonna bounce out of it. Now I'm like, but Suey is doing all kinds of stuff. Their devs are always posting it. They're very public about what they're doing. And I like that because I could see what's going on. I'm not like chasing them down to try to figure out what's happening with the coin. Anyways, that all that to say, have conviction in the coin, have some conviction, do your research, figure them out, learn about them. And when the price moves, Bitcoin was moving like $10,000 either way the other day. I don't think any one of us, it was just another day. Like you see the
I just
memes all the time, but
rolled
it's
over, went
literally
to
just like
sleep.
another day. It's like go like all right, cool. Like I lost a couple grand today, whatever, on just Bitcoin. It's like, all right, whatever, like it'll be back because I know where it's going. So
Mhm.
All
do
Yeah.
your
right, so I
research,
want to I
folks.
want to add into
Just
that
oh,
point because you brought up two things. You said conviction and exit strategy. So for people, are you all the way in and all the way out with your exit strategy? Like when you do your exit strategy, are you selling 100% of your portfolio? Or are you
maybe
selling in
20.
increments? Or are you selling a certain percentage?
You
My
asking me?
I'm asking both of you.
well, I'm going to answer your question, but I do want to tie a point on this whole price point thing. It's okay to buy the top, but make sure you buy down. But also, I just want to say, what the fuck are you going to do with that money, anyways? Because if you're in the position where you say, "Oh, I don't want to buy the top today," and then you wait a month, well, where did that 100, 200, $500 go in that month? Did it go to extracurricular activities that you don't necessarily need that aren't going to help you, grow exponentially, or did
Just
that go
buying
to?
shit.
And that's what I'm saying. Are you just buying into some bullshit because it didn't feel good? And One of the other points Corey made was talking about buying down. Sometimes it's harder to buy down than to buy up because the excitement is not there. It's left your
Mhm.
body when that thing's dropping, dropping, dropping. You're like, well, oh, is this thing not going to turn around? So you just got to be convicted, like they said, and you have to do your research and understand where you're going and not where you're at. The situation is not the destination. So,
Mm. Boy, drop
Bars.
bombs. Dang. Beautiful.
You're on mute.
Me?
we lost you. We're having a little technical difficulty here, ladies and gentlemen, but that's okay. And I'm gonna say it
Ah,
one
we,
more
we must
time
have
while
been
he's
getting we
muted.
must have been dropping the hammer that they hacked us.
Hey, I cooked this fucking system.
They
Guy roasted my system.
There
There
you
he
go.
is.
There you
He's
go.
back. He's back.
Nah, my connection was a little unstable. That's fine. We're back.
See,
Anyways,
yep.
well said. Dropping bars. I love it. You were gonna say something, Corey, on it about the conviction and the
Oh
Well, I
yes,
mean,
I'm gonna
because
answer his question. I'm sorry, I didn't tie
he
this
did
in.
it
I'm gonna
again.
answer your
go
question
ahead, go ahead, go
because
ahead.
I just needed to get that before we moved on. Bitcoin, I'm never selling it. Altcoins, 80/20. Meme coins this cycle, 100% liquidation.
You said when you say 80/20, so you're liquidating 80% or you're holding 20?
Liquidating 80% of my altcoin positions and holding
Okay.
20.
Okay.
And then I'll rebuild over the next 4 years for my ultimate 2028, 2030 exit. And when I say exit, that means everything. Again, consolidation to Bitcoin, 20% altcoin, complete liquidation.
Not
So
financial advice.
not financial advice, but
That was in the disclaimer, folks. So we don't have to say it every time.
I know you're a big XRP. So are you gonna do the same thing with XRP or does that number move
100%.
up? Okay.
No, the standard is the standard.
Okay.
80/20. Like, because there's other things too. Because I'm like, oh, should I sell 80% of my SUI? Yes. When again, this is my global top for the cycle, November 80/20, 100% meme, reciprocate into Bitcoin
Okay.
from
Bring
the
it
memes.
around the circle.
Bo?
I have different price targets for different coins, so it would be exhausting to go through that. But effectively, it would be 80, 20, 100% out of shit coins, with the exception of Doge. I've always held Doge. I feel like Doge is it's always going to be there. It's just it's the OG. It's the one that when people talk about meme coins, that's the one they talk about that they know that they're the most familiar with, even if they've never heard of crypto before. So, with the exception of Doge, 100% out on all my shit coins.
All right, I like it. I'm in a similar boat. I'm gonna do the same exact thing. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. Uh, I'm gonna take probably 80 to 90% profit on particular tokens some of them, I'm not gonna lie, there's some of them that I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I've been holding on to it for so long and it hasn't really done a whole lot and it still hasn't done. Polkadot is the one I'm have in mind. So I have some Polkadot. I don't have a whole lot, but it's just money that I want to free up and move around into other projects. And I think kind of like what Nate was saying, like Sui, like if you didn't sell any of your coins from 21 because your conviction in it is so strong that you didn't sell it, there's gonna be a new coin that comes on the scene that's gonna be hot. So by 2028 rolls around, there's going to be another coin or 2029 that's going to be new and doing something that these other ones ain't doing. Or it could be doing the same thing, it's just doing it better. So that's why you should always have some money that's freed up to be able to jump in on these projects. So
All right, well, you ready to put your little hard hat on?
I would say just to tie that all up, like I said, I have a standard, set the standard, take the emotion out of it because you can get caught up in this game to where you're okay. Well, I didn't take it at my price point. Now I'm going up, going up. and then everybody else hit their liquidation phase, and you're left holding the bag.
Yeah.
I'm ready for your construction hard hat. Give it to me.
I was just gonna say,
He's locked and loaded. Me?
what are
Bring
your
them.
top coins this week? 15 seconds. Nathan, you got the floor. Go.
Algo, XRP, XLM, HBAR, ADA.
What was ready to go this week? Corey, what you got?
Bitcoin, ADA, XDC, uh, XLM, and Pepe.
Baby.
Pepe moving, quietly moving.
It's quiet. It's working in the shadows.
It is
That's
working in the shadows because XRP and XLM and HBAR, all them are getting all the hype right now. Pepe's over here like, bro, I just did 15% in a day. Holla at me. That's all right. Y'all look over there. I'll be over here. Anyways, Corey, you want to give him some game this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go in a little bit on the charts. So I'm gonna go ahead and screen share. I won't go crazy long. Do like 5, maybe 10 minutes. 5 minutes. We'll do 5 minutes.
beautiful. Well, steal the show. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I've got to use the little boy's restroom.
All right. Bitcoin on the daily. So it's funny. I put these little yellow lines here a couple weeks ago because there's this. If you see the price goes up and hits these points, it like uses it's like a rope. It's been playing a game when it broke out. We hit that 110, got knocked back down, crushed through it, hit the Bollinger Bands, tapped it again. You see that we have this floor. There's another line I have around 91. So yeah, you have wicks that break down, but these wicks are quick. These are like fast movements. The bodies of the candles. So if you don't know how to read a candlestick, the green ones, the price opens where the body is here and closed here. The the sticks is just a fluctuation within the time frame. So I'm on the daily candle. So every stick you see is worth a day. Like this is a good one. The price opened up at
Zoom in.
98. This one right here. This is on Monday, the 25th, November 24. We opened up at 99K and then we closed at 92. It hit a little bit lower, 92.6, and it closed at 9. No, I'll call it 93. But you don't really, the wicks are kind of scams if you're trading because some people have stop loss. Like you might have a stop loss here, but the price really maintained and stayed in here. You just got these quick movements. Boom, liquidation, liquidation up here. Market kept chugging along. But right now, as far as right now, this looks really good because we got this and then we one up, hit 102, and now we're making another. This almost looks like a W. This looks like it's forming a W to me, a big giant W. So you can go boom, boom, and then once we break this little kind of like sloping resistance, which is gonna happen, we're either gonna break out and move real hard, or things that people don't like to hear, we're gonna break back down, come back down to either this 95 range or back down to the 92. But I don't see that happening considering what's about to happen with the market in general. RSI looks good, so remember when in November we were moving real hard after Trump's being announced as the winner? We ran RSI's overheated in the green, way in the green, 78, 80. Now we're just cruising around 57. This is the good time to load up. It's coiling up. Think of it like a spring being compressed, 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 and it's about to
Mm-hmm.
pop. Um, and then things like we can go look at XRP. XRP, this is very bullish. This is really, really bullish. Like this chart looks really, really good. Okay, so same thing. Look at how overheated it was on the RSI. Even down here, it was overheated, but its price still moves. So this is a good example of what I mean. If you do look at charts and you see the price hit a certain point and it's up in the green like this, that doesn't mean it's just going to come crashing back down. Price can stay overheated for a little while. So in this case, it lasted from the 11th of November to the 4th of December before it came to recorrect. About a month it stayed up there. But fact is now it's broke out of this consolidation. A big strong candle right here. This is good momentum. So if you see down there it says Wednesday the 15th, we've already started a new candle for the 16th. This is based in a different time zone, so that's why it's like that. But I'm sure by tomorrow afternoon, we're already at 302. It will probably be around 350. That's gonna be my guess. Tomorrow, it's gonna move, and that's
Talk to
probably
him,
gonna.
baby. Talk to him.
Let's see, that's 15% move. So XRP can easily do
And it
that in
did
a day.
12% today, huh?
15% is manageable. This candlestick alone was
20.
19. And then if you do the little wick, which I don't really like to measure the wicks, but you're looking at 21.
Hmm.
Um, but so that's XRP. Just
We
a
look
little
at
quick little
Algo,
rundown. You want to see Algorand?
please.
Okay, so Algorand, it looks similar, but we haven't got it doesn't have the momentum and the hype around it as XRP does, but this doesn't mean that it's not a good time. And look, it's the same situation. November, the market was just overheated in November. We went up honestly too high, too fast. So that's why we've been punished and having to wait. Just like in the beginning of the
Hmm.
24, we got punished for 6 months because we hit an all-time high before the halving, which had never happened in the history. And then we just had to wait a boring 6 months before we seen another crazy movement. So that's kind of why I feel like this cycle is more similar to 2017, where we'll see these big explosions, some drops, and then it kind of goes sideways, boring, 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 big explosion, sideways drop, and then so on and so forth until November. Um,
Hmm.
but Algo, let me zoom out on, let's look at it on the weekly real quick. And yeah, look at the weekly. The weekly RSI was a straight line from October 28th to damn near December. It was just moving like crazy. So it's consolidating. These lines have been here for a little while. And look, it came and literally bounced right off of that movement. That's why I love technical analysis because it's weird. Spooky stuff happens in the charts. Like it's like magic sometimes. I could go back here. This is a great example. I go here and go, look at this range that the price was in. Put a line here, and it lines up as you move in the future. Look, the price went up here, came down, found support, and this is around the 30-cent range for algo. So if you're around 30 cent on algo, it's a good buying opportunity. And this was even in the midst of the bear market. It continued to drop to 23 to 8 cent and then got back up in the range, knocked out, and now we've broken out. But the difference is between this move and this move, look at the momentum. Look at how strong the momentum and the buying power was here to break it out. It's gonna stay here. And if you look at these candles, they're just all of them, red and green, they're just bigger, more volume coming in
Yeah.
versus back here. It wasn't doing much. It was slow. Like you're talking, it was boring. This is boring. You're going to sleep right here.
That's
Here,
entry point. That's what
this is
that
entry
is.
point, but the sad part is most people are leaving right here. They're
Well,
like,
that's
"Oh,
where
this is
I
boring."
said, it's almost harder to buy the bottom than the top because you don't
And
have any excitement around the program.
and another thing is like, while this is all going on, your coin's doing this. Something else in space is looking real shiny
Hmm.
and frothy. It's popping and moving. You're like, "Oh man, let me sell. Let me take the money out of here and move it over here." And then you're buying in at a higher point, and then it might not go up that much more. So you're better off just to, like you said, buy down and just wait because it would have been worth it from if you would have bought in the lows here, 9 cent to now, you're looking at a 428% gain. And really, most of that gain came within recent times. I mean, just in 42 days, it went 372%. And it's about to do it again. Like it's about to do it again. Because if you look at the all-time high, which is, I don't like this chart. This is on Binance. But if we get to the 21 high at 270 from here, another 500% gain. And then look at this. This is where if you go from the March 2020 to October 21 high, it did a 1700% gain. So if we did that, if we did the same thing, we say the bear market of, well, let's just say the low of 23, and we go 1700%, you're still not even at the all-time high. You're at a dollar 60. It's going to do more than that, especially Algorand. Algorand has more attention on it now than it did in 21. So that's more fuel to the
Yeah.
boosters that we're going to have.
And I think it'll
Um,
have even more so when that compliance chart comes out and all the legislation around that comes out as well.
exactly. Sui's, there's not a lot of information because it's a new coin. Um, this is only goes back to May of 23, but this chart is just pretty much up and to the right. Like even the RSI down here, like from the start, you can go down here. I don't like this, but you have this upward trend that it's moving in. I, I don't really like this one just because it's not some of these other ones like VeChain. You have years of information. You have more data to go off of. Same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you have years of information to go off of.
Mhm.
It's harder to look at. That's like when we were on pump.fun or on the Phantom Wallet. Like you can look at those charts, but there's really no technical analysis to those because one, there's no fundamentals behind it, and two, it's just it hasn't even been out but 20 minutes. So how much technical analysis could there really be? But no, we're really about to break out of this thing right here. This is exciting. This is on the weekly, so I was showing you daily. Weekly looks even better. Um, so all you little degens are gonna be getting hot and horny, and we're gonna be going to the moon.
To the moon, brother.
And then that's that for this week's TA segment.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Well said.
Nice charts
Thanks
too.
for putting the folks on.
For
Uh,
sure.
the long awaited moment that we all been waiting for.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Got a little Michter's toasted bourbon here, coming in at a whopping, spilled it on my mouse, not good. 91.4, retails for about $100. So right off the rip, mm, it's like woody oak. There's some little bit of smokiness, crazy, but some like maybe like a mushroom type of smell in there, like a toadstool, irony. And I kind of get a little bit of like a churro smell as well. Anyways, cheers. My palate, I got some honey, vanilla, a little bit of milk chocolate, and it kind of is finishing out like I'm getting more of the the toast from the barrel. So I'm getting that smoky. There's a little bit of like a white pepper in there, and then like a leather. But Michter's, it's a solid pour, good stuff. Go get you some. This special bottle, we opened it for my one. It's one of the few that my wife actually likes. So you can get your girlies on it. It's nice and it's an easy sipper.
Hi.
So rolling into the next segment, the final segment. Have y'all heard about this new battery that China has put out?
No, but I can't wait for you to inform me.
I know
Well,
basics.
this thing is pretty incredible. It's Beta Volt developed this nuclear battery, 15 millimeters by 15 millimeters, tiny, and they're gonna aim to launch a 1 watt version by 2025, but it's a nuclear battery. Oh my God, everybody's gonna freak out. It's nuclear,
Nuclear.
but it's gonna have a shelf life of 50 years,
Mm.
allegedly. We know how batteries work. It's like, they say you're gonna get 5 minutes out of it and you get three. So uh it's gonna use nickel 63 isotopes to generate the electricity. It's gonna be used for AI equipment, medical devices, and microprocessors. That's kind of where they're aiming their target for. So pretty interesting stuff. I know they got some bigger, better stuff out there, but this is again, this is just technology that's coming down the line. I mean, what's the one thing that we with phones every year they try to like pack more and more and more juice into it to do all these new capabilities that they have to do the processing. I don't know about you guys, but if you're searching the web on your phone, I mean, you'll rip through that battery quick. So it's one of those things where, it's a small but such a big deal. If we can get it even smaller and fit it inside of phones, now we're really talking. The
I don't I
nuclear
don't
thing doesn't scare me at all.
I don't think it's even really a small thing. I think this is kind of a big deal because um innovation, like whether it comes from the cell phone industry or the car companies developing new batteries for EVs, you're gonna see the innovation in the battery. You're gonna see batteries doing crazy things like this. So from what I read and I understand of it, it was saying 50 years with no charge. So it will be able to maintain a charge for 50 years.
Correct.
And that's if its shelf life, if its charge is 50 years, only I can only imagine what its shelf life would be like. When you read further down into it, one of the batteries says it's going to run for centuries. So like that's like scientific uh Hollywood stuff that we would be seeing, and it's about to be a reality. Um, but no, you're not lying. Like if you're on your phone, if like when I'm at work, if I'm on my phone and I have my, because I don't get good service in the building because it's all metal. So when I'm on Wi-Fi and I have my Bluetooth running, my battery drains so fast during the day. Um, the batteries are not keeping up with what the capabilities of the phones are. So
The
these new
processors.
batteries, yeah, the processors, they're so sucking all the juice out of it. So we need better batteries. Um,
Furthermore, if you don't have service, it's going to be, or spotty service, it's going to be searching. And when you're searching for service like that, it just sucks the life out of your phone.
mhm,
And you don't even got to be doing anything. I mean, you just leave it on your desk and it'll just, the searching aspect of it, you go over and touch your damn phone that's 100 degrees. And
for
you ain't been to
sure.
a sauna in a year.
I mean, and people probably do get freaked out when they hear nuclear, but to be honest, I think this is the positive way we should be using nuclear technology, not necessarily
Correct.
blowing each other away with it, because it is powerful. If we could figure out how to use it and utilize it the way it should be, then it could benefit humanity instead of being a detriment to humanity.
Well,
So,
nobody's crying about when they break a bone and they go to the doctor to get a MRI or a X-ray or any of that. I mean, you
Blasted
just
with
trust
nuclear
the
radiation.
fact that this lead blanket that they're putting over you, that they're doing, they're A, they're putting it in the right spot, and B, that there's no other symptoms that are going to come from it. So, I
mhm,
mean, like that's where we've used a lot aside from generating nuclear power, but I feel that's where in weapons, this is like the medical field hit it Now this is going to be a nice little, we can contain it, is I guess what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say. I mean, we're throwing a little janky ass lead blanket over a person to x-ray their broken ass leg. We can contain this little isotope.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same way they contain the nuclear energy on a submarine 10,000 fucking leagues under the sea in a dense pressure system in an environment where most things don't even operate. So,
Yeah.
Did you see that they also developed calcium-based batteries, which is interesting because they said it's here it's right here. A rechargeable battery that it could be more cheaper, more sustainable alternative to lithium batteries. It's made from metal that is 2,500 times more affordable than lithium. So, you hear a lot of people that are against EVs and how they're worse for the environment because of lithium, which is true. But again, that doesn't like it's a blanket statement like, oh, it's we shouldn't go to EVs because it's terrible. No, it's just not what you do, it's how you do it. So
Yep.
if we're using lithium, terrible. If you're using calcium based, or they even have a water based battery, like there's other ways of creating these technologies. It's just
well,
we're
they can
doing it
build
kind of
hydrogen powered cars, but
you know.
where's the benefit in that for any lobbyist or business owner? Well, I mean,
Well, now,
I
that,
guess
that's
if
a
you're
that's a whole different rabbit hole you're
I
going
guess
right
if you're in
there.
California, the water's a whole different topic, huh?
Eh,
So before we leave this though, I think like one of my things is with these batteries, I mean, just thinking through the how radiation and nuclear energy works, 50 years, so it just half lives and then eventually just decays to nothing, right? So disposal wise, I think this is probably a pretty solid, or it's a better choice maybe than our lithiums and traditional batteries.
Well, you're thinking way outside the box. Most of these people think from a consumer standpoint. This guy's thinking from a discharge standpoint. What do we do when it's over? Nobody's even there yet.
Well, I think it's a point of contention though. I mean, everybody always brings that up with lithium. They're like, "Oh, what are you going to do with
They
these
sure in hell
batteries when
haven't
they're all
failed
going
to
bad
mine
in
it.
these EV cars?" And it's like, "All
Oh,
right,
then
well,
just flood them and blow them up. It's easy. What are they gonna do at the landfill?
Definitely don't put them in the landfill. I seen
Well,
some. They said it's 250 years for it to break down and decay and go back into the earth. So, uh, but it's like you still need something, that's not going to decay as a driver. As you're driving in harsh climates, whether it's hot or cold, you need something that's going to be able to withstand that as well. As far as driving, so when I read the nuclear thing, I'm like, how is that going to work? Like, what happens if somebody gets in a car accident, smashes their
boom.
battery? Yeah. Is it going to be a bomb? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm
I
not a
think that's
freaking,
that's a different department of emergency response. That's what that creates. Now
Oh boy.
you got a hazmat situation going on,
but maybe, it might not
and
even be like that. Maybe there has to be certain things that go on for it to have an explosion. I don't know if a car accident would cause that. I
But even
just,
then, how do you contain the radiation?
yeah. Well,
that's what
that's why I don't feel like that would be a car battery. They would go the other route, like these other things, like the water battery or the calcium battery or something else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was pretty interesting. Thought I should bring it up and pick the scab, as they say. So moving on to the next topic, we got fires just steady rolling in Cali, so, and the polarization of government between, you know, a Democratic led state versus a Republican led state is absolutely polarizing.
Why would you
And
ask?
one, just because being a native Floridian, you know, we'll talk Florida and we'll talk Cali, but
Well, that's the one they're using in the media. So, perfect
right.
example.
And so why wouldn't you? I mean, it's one's taxing the fuck out of their people and the other is not. I mean, what are we doing?
Well, I think another thing that people don't want to talk about that is, and I know for people affected, it doesn't sound, great, but you can fight a fire. You can't fight a fucking hurricane. There's nobody you can send out there to deter a hurricane. There's nothing, there's no amount of resources that we can build up in our state. There's literally that you can put shutters on your windows and hunker down. That's about all you can do. But with a fire, and then
Get some extra gummy snacks.
yeah, you get your preparations in order and you do your thing. You don't I mean, you sometimes you got to evacuate, but not always necessarily. So I think that's one major consideration when they start talking about this whole thing and trying to politicize it, trying to create another. Like, it's not bad enough that you have a fucking firestorm in your fucking city or your state, but you're creating one, through the mainstream media. However that goes, maybe it's not direct influence from the California leadership, but it's a direct influence from the mainstream media on the governing body. And it's, again, it's nonsense when we actually, these people, it's not a fucking joke for these people. They just lost all their shit. And all this shit, every regardless of what you represent, Republican, Democrat, I really don't give a fuck. But where's the response? Where's the care? Where's the money? Where's the backing? Where's the enthusiasm? You fucking somebody from 7,000 miles away pops up on your doorstep and says they need money. My God, we turn the printer on and we let it go. We accidentally sent $6 billion to Ukraine in 2023. I mean, I know, that gets brushed over a lot. They were going to send them $5 billion. They sent them $11 billion. That's more money. That's 5% more than it would have costed them to rebuild everything in Hawaii that went down at that time. So,
Get them.
to sit around here and act like you ain't got no fucking money when it's game time, like I'm quite sick of it. Like, how am I paying taxes and the only people I can fund is the destruction of another country in a world that I really don't even, I don't give a fuck about. I've been to these places. I've been to Romania's. I've been to Eastern Europe. I've been to Afghanistan. All of them, not all of them, but most of them. That shit ain't got nothing to do with us. So, at the point where it's like, oh, we don't know what to do. You do know what to do. Turn it on. $700 ain't going to pay for the evacuation fees that I had to pay at the hotel and just to get out of there. And then on top of that,
770.
you got 69% of the Palisades. All of their insurance companies said they revoked the fire insurance and will not reinstate it 2 months ago. Perfectly in line with the reservoirs going dry. Perfectly in line with all this bullshit. You got immigrants. They have arrested people literally committing arson in the surrounding areas from the Palisades. So at that point, it's crazy. And then you flip the coin and they say, well, we just spent $50 million to Trump proof our fucking state. What the fuck does that mean? We don't want deportation. You know how much money they spend on immigration a year? Housing, healthcare, all that shit?
Tell them.
It's a couple $1 billion. So again, my money's going to somebody who, no disrespect, you're not owed nothing. You ain't build nothing in this country. You ain't contribute no tax money in this country. What have you done? You ain't got no tax number. I'm footing the bill for you, and I can't get no money. These fucking people that I'm associated with, that I care about, the American population, zero money. People still freezing in fucking North Carolina, and I guarantee you, in 4 days when this fire goes out, it's gonna be off the stream. Nobody cares. Looking forward, 2028, smart city, Olympics. Fuck these people. Gavin Newsom out here collecting money for his campaign in 2028. Got me fucked up.
It's
Yeah.
crazy that you brought that up about the hurricanes and the wildfires because I had that thought the other day. I was like, hurricane, you can't, there's no prevention to a hurricane. You can't do anything to stop that. Like it's coming, like you said, you prepare for it, you hunker down. fires can be prevented. Whatever happened to fucking Smokey the Bear? Forest fires can be prevented. It's almost like it's allowed. In my lifetime, California has been on fire at least 5 times that I know of. In Florida, the Ocala National Forest burnt one time when I was a young kid. Like, what is going on out there? What is really going on? Yeah, you
Mismanagement.
can say it's dry and the wind and all this shit. When we went on family vacation to Tennessee, there was a fire up there. But why is California specifically always have fires? Almost every 2, 3 years, there's a bad wildfire out there. Like, whoever's running this shit literally is allowing for it to happen.
But
And you
again,
could
that's what
say
the go ahead.
it's for insurance reasons, maybe because they have such a bad uh, homeless population. Maybe they wanted, maybe they wanted to get rid of some people. Like these are the type of people that run the freaking government and country, anyways. Like, I know that's a hot take, but you already know you got one of the biggest homeless problems in the country. And then, hey, how do we get rid of all these people?
Yeah, but to your point, like you make those points, and then the other problem that's coupled with that is when it boils down to it, everybody's sitting around pointing the fucking finger. The fire chief goes out and exposes this is why we're directly affected. This money went to civilian assets that work for our force, mechanics, staffers, all these people who kept our equipment running, and now we're 100 pieces light and XYZ. But then the mayor comes out and says a totally different story. Then the fucking governor comes out and he's like shimmying around and fucking smiling and talking about we're gonna be real big, we're gonna build it back better than ever. It's like, dude, who the fuck are you talking to?
It's such a slap in the face.
Yeah, and
I
then they
mean,
all gather around on a fucking stage. There's 15 people, conglomerate, 15 people, all heads of the fucking localized public that need help, all heads of these programs, and they're standing around with zero answers to the press. Like, why the fuck are you even in this press conference? You got nothing to say. We're handling this. You're no, like you start, spilling off into this fucking talking point, and then the reporter says something and says, "I'm trying to finish." It's like, well, I asked you a fucking question. Can we get an answer? That's why you're here. You're responsible for us. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like you're taking that responsibility very fucking serious.
it's incompetence.
And then, of course, everybody, well, y'all are just racist. It's like, I don't give a fuck that the lady that runs the mayor is black. I don't care. Cause I'll rip Gavin Newsom. He's fucking white. I'll rip Joe Biden. He's fucking white. I'll rip Dick Cheney. He's fucking white. I'll rip, line them up. I'll knock them down. I don't care. But again, these are just talking points, and it's hysterical media that's just trying to get you to fucking argue while they dick around and give you 170 bucks, and then they slip out the back door, and well, they're not responsible anymore because they're not the administration, and now everything's fucking Donald Trump's fault again. It's like the game continues. It's disgusting, you know.
I mean, the people gotta
Take a
get them
breather.
out of there. They gotta get them out of there because that's really it's what it boils down to. You got to take care of your local, your state, and then obviously we did our part as Americans, but you got to take care of your local because this is what happens. This is what bad government looks like.
I mean, it's not just bad, bro. Like if you hook up to a hydrant and that bitch is dripping droplets, and you're already hours late on your response time, and then you got which is crazy because then you even have the empirical media out there recording this and saying it. So it's like it's even beyond the grasp of the party. It's like holy shit, y'all really did this. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's civilians out here, directing traffic hours into the fucking fire. Where are your public servants at? Where are your peace officers? Where's LAFD? Where's Malibu? And it's not just, everybody's so tied up in this Karen Bass shit because she's black. All the rest of them, every jurisdiction around her, every city, every one of them. What the fuck is your response?
That's why I said it's very fishy that it's always them in this situation. You would think as an incoming mayor, like if you were the incoming mayor, a governor of California, you would one of your top priorities should be, all right, how are we fireproof California? How do we prevent all these fires that keep happening? Let's find a way to reroute water or whatever they need to do to prevent it. Like even Trump spoke about that on the Joe Rogan podcast
Yep.
about, you know, just basic little things like cleaning up brush, old dead brush that,
Forest management. Yep.
yeah, for forest management or doing controlled burnings. And that's kind of what they do in Florida. I know they do a lot. Like they'll do controlled burns, one to help everything come back, grow better and stronger, and to prevent from all this excessive dead brush to where a fire starts, it gets so big that it's harder to control and maintain than if you were just to do it, in a controlled way. I don't know. Again, it's fishy, but I mean, I ain't gonna lie. That's a wicked area. That's a wicked place. Like, there's a lot of bad energy there. Like,
It's crazy. Like you can hear like there's a couple celebrities that talk about their time in California and living there, and they're like, I had to get the fuck out of there because I want to say it was Post Malone. He was like, I had to get out of there. It was just like it was a weird energy. It was like negative energy. It wasn't good for me. So I knew I had to get out of there. I think Theo also said it, but there's a whole handful of people that are like it's just not good vibes.
yeah.
It's interesting that you say that. Have you ever been?
I've flown to San Francisco, but never LA, and we were just there because we had a
Yeah.
connecting flight, but I never like went and hung out. But I've have personal friends and people that I've met. And there's a kid in particular that comes to mind. He was talking about he was living right in Hollywood. He's like, I could see the Hollywood sign out of his apartment. He said, those were his words. He said, man, that place is like, it has a weird energy over it, like the city. And the only other city that I've ever heard that is similar was one of my friends back home. He's from Miami. He said Miami kind of has a negative energy over it as well.
Hmm.
But you got to think like what goes on within these cities
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
on a daily. Like it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like there's some wicked stuff. Like if you get in to go down the rabbit hole and you get into human trafficking and all this stuff that's going on, these are big ports for all that stuff.
For
Yep.
the MIA, yo.
So
Yeah. Well, before we move on from the Florida thing, I do want to say I'm excited because my boy Ronnie D holding it down again. He banned all this fake meat, Bill Gates bullshit in the state of Florida. We ain't get no fake proteins. We ain't get no fake chickens, lab grown meat. No, none of that. Bye
I
bye.
love it. Love it. That kind of goes in line with what RFK's been advocating
All right.
for, which is getting rid of was it
GMO,
the red
Red
10
40,
or red 40.
Well, they came
Red
out and
40.
banned one or two of them this week sometime. Maybe I think it was
They just
five.
banned
Red
Red
dye
3.
five. Was it three?
RFK Jr. is working on it.
Junior.
There was something that was banned today though,
My
in
girl
one
just said it was Red 3 that they
red
just
3.
banned.
Okay. So that's phenomenal. That's a step in the right direction. I
Wow, they've
mean,
taken neurotoxins out of children's cereal. What a no-brainer.
it, out of a lot of stuff. I
Well,
mean,
yeah. Well, that's the big one that really fucks them, because then,
yeah.
oh, my kid developed ADHD, ADD, can't fucking sit still. It's because his hormones are fucked.
Yeah. And the
And then
technology.
they put the same stuff in I watched his video today, Tresemmene or something like that. Anyways, it's just a vicious cycle. They get your kids sick, and then they go to the doctor, they get medication. The
They get
medication
fucking
they're using
Adderall.
has the Tresemmene or whatever this uh stuff is in it, and it just makes them more sick. So it's a never-ending cycle, but interesting stuff to say the least.
It sucks
Uh,
that it took this long to get anything done like that.
it's it's the when the flag is not raised, nobody gives a fuck. Now that there's a flag being raised, now all of a sudden everybody has a dog in the fight.
Yeah, but I would argue that the flag has been raised, but it just hasn't been raised by the what
The right people.
people would
The
listen to. Well, not
elites.
even what people listen to, what government and companies will listen to. Their argument, oh well, it's cheaper or some crap like that.
It's having the right people in the right position. That's what it all boils down to. I mean, they all, I guarantee most of them in Congress knew about it,
Hmm.
and they're not feeding their kids it because they are privy to it, but they don't give a fuck. Yeah. I mean, it's just, hey, how can we pad some pockets here?
Yeah, those
And when you don't have a strong voice in the room to swing the votes, it just gets overlooked, unfortunately. And that's with a ton of stuff. There's so much more out there that needs to get banned, but the FDA is a joke. Like their entire labeling of how they or their dietary pyramid, it's an absolute farce.
It's upside down.
throw it out the
It's
window.
They got goddamn Fruit Loops ranked above a red meat steak as far as nutritional properties. I was like, what?
it's
Look at
who
your
paid them the
grains.
most? Who paid them the most to move the chart around? Yeah,
It's literally a pyramid
Just,
scam.
scheme. But I'm gonna say scam in this because
it's
they're
all a
telling you.
scam, scheme, sham, fucking do I? What a joke. Oh well. No
Well,
fake meat in Florida, baby.
no fake meat in Florida. Ronnie D standing up for
But I think before you go crazy, I think the meta point is like it's very sad to me that Florida had to ban fake meat. Same way these some of these states have weather manipulation laws, but you can't manipulate the weather. Things like that.
just in case, Nate, just in case.
Just in case the government does have quite a few patents on it, and they have been practicing since 1946. Just in case, it's a myth.
Do you guys see that the House passed the bill for men not competing in girls' sports?
Again, the meta point. Sad that this is part of like it. All the people we've elected, they're taking their brain power, right? They're taking their beautiful salaries, right? They're taking their fucking sweet time, and they're saying, men, women, men. I don't know. We had the big boxing incident, Olympics. A big guy beat the fuck out of that girl from Italy, number one ranked boxer in the world. All the while, our fucking country's falling the fuck apart. So thank God they figured it out. Very easy. We had to take a vote. Men and women should not be fucking competing against each other. That's why, in the beginning, we decided to have men and women's sports. I wonder why.
K through 12 only, though.
Really? That's the stipulation?
Whatever. I
Well,
guess
right as of right now, it's K through 12.
you have to start somewhere.
No, and like he said, it's a no-brainer. Like it should be across the board, but they're slow rolling at K through 12.
Really, if they want to fucking fix it, do it like you do bodybuilding. There's very specific categories. So we'd have men's sports, women's sports. And then they have this division. It's called open. You can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want. You can take all the fucking steroids you want. You can whatever. It's open. You're all competing together. And here's the checklist. This is what we're judging you on. We don't really care outside of that. It's open.
Fair.
Yeah.
Chip Roy introduced a bill to ban stock trading in Congress.
Jesus Christ, how many times am I gonna say it? Meta point. Sad.
Get her out of there, Nancy Pelosi. Get her out.
Nancy. I mean, I think most people were kind of had this preconceived notion that it was illegal. It's like, well, no, it's frowned upon. Many things are frowned upon, but
I think the next thing we
Insider
need to work
trading
on
is
is
illegal
the
or
term.
isn't?
it's not illegal. Well, if this bill passes, it will be illegal. But right now, there's no regulation as far
It's
as
just frowned upon.
yeah.
No, it's illegal. If you work for a company and you do that, it's illegal. But for Congress, they operate outside
Well,
those
we're talking
lines.
specifically about Congress.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
So Congress men and
the
women who work
Congress
with
body.
Hmm.
lobbyists, they can't transition that knowledge.
I got
Again,
you.
so if you work for the energy department and you go to these, conventions where people are paying to have these conversations with you, or you're paying, and they're just this weird bind
The
of
lobbyists
money
typically
and
pad
time.
the pockets of the congressmen to say, "Hey, let's try to get this bill passed." Okay, Pelosi, thank you. I'll accept that. Boom, she puts it in her pocket, hits her account, whatever, and then the bill gets raised that affects this company, and she sways the votes, or the she knows that the votes are going to pass, so she's already put uh, a buy order in for that company, and then the company, that's what they needed, and now they go up in on the stock market. And so it's one of those things where it's like, let's go ahead and just get this done real quick and toss in the term limit. Let's make it like 1,000 pages and give it right back to them how they give it to us.
And really, what should happen for these people, the only thing that, in my opinion, should happen is that all their assets should be frozen in their time of public service. And this is where you really get your public servants. Like, you weed out those people who are going to utilize that position for gain and not for the betterment of the representation of whatever body they're supposed to represent. So, you freeze everything. Hey, you can't buy into, Nvidia if you know that the government's about to pull a contract to use Nvidia chips for AI with military industrial. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't do that. So I think it'd be a tool and a deterrent. Well, not a deterrent, but a way of controlling that. Just you freeze the assets. I mean, it's not like they're underpaid. They'll be okay.
Yeah, but
How do you
they'll
yeah,
find a way around it. They'll find a workaround.
how do you freeze a stock though?
They do it all the time. Well, you just debank the account.
Yeah. So
You
whatever
you have
your
to,
name is
again.
tied
You just
to
have to be
is
public. You have to, okay. Here I forego my information. Here's everything I got going on. Freeze. I mean, obviously it's a little more complex than that, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I think the banning is a good first step.
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Because it's just a weird thing where, I don't know, people would misrepresent that as to, oh well, he's still holding, whatever. Yeah, he still has assets. They're just frozen. He's not trading in these accounts. There's no manipulation going on behind the scenes. He can't be advantageous of the knowledge that he or she might have of, this bill passing, crude oil bill passing,
Yeah,
whatever bill, stuff like that.
gotcha.
Because again, that's the essentially, most people aren't concerned with the gain. A lot of the times, it's the times where they're invested in a certain stock or company or whatever, and then they see, somebody from the Senate who was sitting on this hearing for energy conversation or conservation sold out all of their energy stocks 3 days before the verdict came out, when they already knew the
Yep.
verdict because they sat through the fucking trial. That's the big problem, ultimately.
Can I show you guys something real quick? It's on
Absolutely.
the topic of what we got going on here. Where is it at? Go ahead. I got to pull it up first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then it's like, okay, well, you had the knowledge and the wherewithal to get yourself out of harm's way and not take that loss, but just because of your position, and what, not just your position, a position you've been voted into and is paid throughout the tax that we put forth. So, it's just a different level of animosity. And of course, when you see fucking Nancy's portfolio sitting at 290 million, and it's like, you'd have to work with your salary for 1,000 years to accumulate that type of wealth, girl. What, you ain't paid for nothing yet? Rent must be cheap.
Facts. It's not. Not down there. Do you see what Biden's final address.
I can't. That sorry motherfucker.
He's calling for a ban on congressional stock trading. This is new as of like 2 hours ago.
He's throwing
Uh,
nukes at his party. He's sabotaging because he really wanted to run that race.
a ban on dark money donations, what we were just talking about, and a 18-year term limit for the Supreme Court.
18 years. That's pushing it, dog. No, well, that's tough. It's a tough one because conventional career, 20-year retirement process, 18, not 20. I could see it being a career, but at the same time, I think at the and maybe it worked, constitutionally back in 1776 all the way up to probably 2020, 2016, 2020. But the amount that things change socially, economically, how fast, I think you need to have representations of those generations within the governing bodies. So if you, because you come in with a mindset, you don't really adopt a new one until you're done and you go acquire new life experiences. Like
Yeah,
look at Mitch McConnell. I mean, my this guy can't even fucking talk anymore. It's like, what? Who is voting for this? Like, what are you people on? I need to try it because y'all motherfuckers are zombies, bro. Y'all, you guys are zonked out.
I don't get it.
I don't
I
get it
don't get
either.
it. All right, here you go. This is just a quick example. So Nancy Pelosi back in June, she sold her Nvidia shares literally days before a
Oh yeah.
massive drop. So can we see?
It's loading.
There it is.
There
All
it
right.
is.
So she was selling right in here, the middle of June. It wasn't until after the drop that it was announced that she had sold her shares here. And then look what happened to everybody that was investing. Again, this is short term because it did recover and over the long term, but it just goes to show the point of she was holding and riding this wave right here all the way up from this is October of 23 to June of 24. And then that's why it's like they are definitely insider trading because if I it makes me want to make a chart and put Nancy Pelosi's buys and sells on a chart and it's lines up too perfect. Like she would be considered the greatest stock trader of all time,
Better than Warren Buffett.
better than Warren Buffett, but she's not. How could you be if you are in Congress and you have a full-time job and you're a public servant? Um, you have somebody feeding you information that works within these companies. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to show, just a little quick visual.
Yeah. No, it's I think all these things that we are unhappy about are gonna we'll start seeing the action here very soon. I'm excited for
Bluetooth
what's to
disconnect.
come.
Bluetooth connected.
I'm excited for what's to come. Uh, I'm very hopeful for the future in the next really 4 days at this point. And any other sign off for the gang?
Send them home. We dropped some
Well,
bars on them this week.
see you next week.
All right. That's been an episode. You got the top coins, you got the bottles, you got the game from Corey. We talked a little bit about some crypto, a lot of bit about some crypto. We crushed some current events and local news. Don't forget, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up. Appreciate y'all. Salute. We out this bitch.